last an even better race today here in ERO in F2 today. Under the lights, of course, night race. And so, what can I say? Still 3 drivers missing here, and we should be starting soon. So this is 6 PM UK now, but we are still missing 1 driver. I don't know if we are waiting or starting, but we should see in a minute. Okay, so there we go. We've got 20 drivers on the grid. So full grid today, as actually quite always. Gyro came here, same as Vilzu, our title contender, to be honest, because he's in the second place in the driver standings. And there we go, 5 seconds, and we are moving to Bahrain. There we go. Here we are in Bahrain for the qualifying at the moment, and then for the race. Now we have to wait for the drivers to come out of their garages. And it looks like Mercedes is gonna be the first one on track. Tex has retired from the session. Maybe it's some kind of strategy for the race or something. And so, is it Lupus on track? No, it's Brett. It's Brett who is gonna be the first man on track. And he's coming out on hard. Also Libanov retired from the session, so we will see some strategic moves going on, and so we will follow Brett through his outlap. He's now going through the second sector into the hairpin and up into the most tricky part of the track, the turns 9 and 10. Here surely we will see some mistakes from the drivers who will be missing their braking points. I will maybe check the comments. Okay. So Just Calling Brett is now on the back straight, and he should start his laps soon. Vitinha is also out of the session, so same as in Italy, Toro Rosso is making the same strategy, and they are not taking part in qualifying. And Brett starts his hot lap. There he goes through the main straight, of course DRS wide open, and here braking into turn 1, really tight hairpin. Now up the hill we go, through the turns 2 and 3, another DRS zone, into turn 4 we go, another hairpin. Here we had a duel between Hamilton and Rosberg in 2014. Now he finishes the first sector, and through the some tactical section we go. Now into the hairpin and up into the trickiest part of the track, through the kink and into turn 10. Another hairpin. This is the really important exit, because we've got another DRS straight there, and through this long firstly left and then right-handers, and here we are finishing the second sector, and we've got 2 more corners to go. Here was one of them, and we are now on the back straight. There is Haas, one of the Haas's out of the track, and last corner on the track, nice and clean, and onto the starting straight. Again, DRS wide open, and just Colin Brett finishes his lap, and it's 1:28.8. Just behind him there is one of the Williams. It's not Gyre, it's Bunny Rabbit, and Bunny Rabbit beats Mercedes, but he's on softs. So it was Matti, he's also on softs, and he goes second at the moment. Next was Houseman, a little bit worse time than Brett. Then we've got Paceman, our championship leader, with 100 points on the board. Then we've got Gui on P5, he's on softs. And also Edzax, who is in P5, the former Toro Rosso driver in F1, my former teammate. And Jair puts himself up into P5, and also Vilzu goes into P9. We've got quite different strategies for the drivers. Timmats goes into P9 because most drivers are on hards. We've got 4 drivers on softs and one and only Edzax on mediums at the moment. Next to cross the line won't be Lupus, it will be Super Thomas, but he's on his out lap, so it will be Natik surely, and Natik goes P11, and worst time at the moment. But maybe a look at Fireshot Ryan, who is starting his hot lap. And he goes through the main straight. There is also one of Ferraris ending his lap time. It's F1 champ, but he goes into the pits, so he probably made a mistake somewhere. Who is on the hot lap? Super Thomas is on hot lap, and also Lupus. Lupus is in second sector. He's on softs, so we may see him putting himself up quite high on the board. Will Vilzu make a better time? I think no. So yeah, so we will follow Lupus at the moment. Comes out onto the start-finish straight, and he opens the DRS, and he goes into P3, 2 tenths behind Bunny Rabbit. We got of course Super Thomas on the back straight. He's on mediums, and so he has got one more corner to go. Onto the curb, opens the DRS, and he goes into P12. So not the best result for him, but there is a Fireshot Ryan following him. And where can he put himself? He puts himself up into P14, so it's the worst time at the moment, but we may see a better time for him soon. Houseman is also trying to put himself up on the board. Lopez also starts his lap. He's going through the main straight. We've got also one of the Mercedes on in-lap. I think he's on Lupus is on in-lap, or maybe on out-lap, but I don't see this. Maybe he will be... No, he comes to the pits. Okay. Is Houseman on a hot lap? No. So maybe Super Thomas? No. Fireshot Ryan is improving by nearly 2 seconds after 2 sectors, so we may see some improvement here. Last corner, and now onto the main straight, and Fireshot Ryan goes into P5, and this is the best lap on hards at the moment. So we've got Renault in P5. Houseman comes into the pits. There is also Gui just behind him, who is starting his another lap time. He's currently in P10, and this is the worst result for the driver on softs. There is also Edzak starting his lap, and Lopez is finishing, I think. Yes, he is. He's in the last corner, and now he crosses the line and he goes last, over 10 seconds behind Natik, but he made a huge mistake. Probably I didn't saw this. We got also Champ on his hot lap. He's on the second DRS straight. And also, is there Bunny Rabbit finishing his lap? Yes, he is. He is improving by 3/10, and he improves his lap time to 1:27.9, and so he improves his advantage above Pacevan. But look at Champ, because he's on back straight, and he will be finishing soon. He's on hards, but the board is telling us that he's on soft, so I don't know who should I trust. F1 Champ goes into P6, so he may be on hards actually. Yes, he is on hards. We've got Gui in P2, so it's a very nice result for him. He's 3/10 behind Bunny Rabbit at the moment. Got or maybe on softs actually, because the board lied to me another time, and he goes into P1 by 2/10 above the Williams driver. We've got also Matti going, or no, it wasn't Matti actually. We've got Pacevan on the back straight, but he isn't improving. He made a mistake. Is there anyone on the hot lap near to the end? Pacevan will be starting another lap, same as Lupus, who is following him, and he's in the slipstream. We've got one of McLaren's, but it's Houseman, and he's starting his lap. Is Champ improving? Yes, he is, by 4/100ths of a second, and he's in last corner, but he comes into the pits. So there will be Gui next to cross the line. He's in the last corner, but he also comes into the pits. Jair starts his lap. Is Vilzu finishing? Yes, he is, but we have to wait for him. Edzak is coming into the pits, and so Vilzu, but he isn't improving. Timat also isn't improving. There is one of the Hasses behind them, and it's Lopez, but he also comes into the pits. We've got Natik, but it also won't be any good result. And so next to cross the line will be Pacevan, who rounds the final corner, but he also comes into the pits, so it will be Lupus, who is low on ERS, and he goes into P3. So he puts his Mercedes in the top 3 at the moment. It's a nice result for him. The top 6 at the moment is on softs. Then we've got Vilzu on mediums, and then a couple of drivers on hards. We've got Houseman putting his McLaren up into P4 on mediums. So he'll probably try to start the race on the medium tires, and he will have an advantage in the further part of the race. We've got one of the Williams finishing his lap. It's Jair, who is improving by half of the second, and he goes into P4. just in front of Houseman, 1,000th of a second above Houseman, and they are both on mediums, so really similar times for these drivers. We've got also Brett, who will be starting his final, or maybe not final, hot lap. We had Matti with problems, but he fortunately joined second before. We got yellow flag in sector 2. It was I don't know what, it was one of the Williamses, was probably letting somebody go. We got 3. Is Lupus, Jair or Houseman on hot lap? No. So the only man on the hot lap is Brett, who is currently in P12. And he's now opening the DRS and up into turn 4. And will we see any improvement here? Yes, there is. He's improving by 3/10, but his last time was on the hards, and now he's on mediums. And so he goes through the trickiest part of the track. DRS open, second DRS straight. Now he will be finishing the second sector through this left-hander. Up the hill he goes. Now right-hander, very tricky curve on the inside, 7/10 of improvement. So he is gonna be somewhere near Jair and Houseman, I believe. Now last corner to go. And there he goes. He finishes the lap and he puts himself up into P2. Above a second of improvement for the Mercedes driver, and he is in front of his teammate Lupus, and just 1/10 behind Edzax. He's also starting his last hot lap. I don't know, Houseman is making third lap on these tires. We've got one of the, something is happening in sector 2, but I think that's nothing important. GUI isn't improving after 2 sectors. We've got one of the Renaults, it's Ryan, who is finishing his lap, and he now opens the DRS and he puts himself up into P3, just behind Brett and just in front Bunny Rabbit. But now we will be seeing some improvements by the drivers. We got one of the racing points. It's Jimstrow, who hasn't got a time yet, and now he goes into P17. Last time on the board at the moment, and he won't improve now, probably. We got also Brett rounding the final corner, but he comes into the pits, and we got Champ improving, and he goes into P8 at the moment. And Edzax goes first, or actually improves his time, and he's now 3/10 ahead of Just Calling Brett, who won't improve now. We've got also Lopez putting himself up into P14, so that's not a good start for the Hasses. Houseman also won't improve now, he's in P7. There is also Bunny Rabbit finishing his lap time, and he's on softs, and he goes, or he doesn't go because he will be starting another lap. Last lap in this qualifying for him. Is Matt improving? No, he isn't. We had Prime Gilzu in P5, 4/10 behind his teammate. Jimstrow also finishing his lap. Is he gonna and we are still waiting for the Ferraris. First to cross the line will be Pacefen. He's on softs and he goes into P2 just behind the Red Bull, and Champ is gonna stay in P10. And so we are still waiting. Is it Edzax? Yes, it is, but he's coming into the pits. Same as Lupus. And we are still waiting for Lopez, Natik, Bunny Rabbit and Bunny Rabbit, yes. Lopez rounds the final corner. There is Natik in front of him. He's improving by 2 seconds. And Natik goes first. So Natik takes the pole position away from Edzax on the very last occasion, and Bunny Rabbit is the last corner we are waiting for, but he comes into the pits, and so that's the end of quali, I guess. So Natik, unseen through probably the whole qualifying, he goes first and he will start the race from the pole position. He overtook Edzax by 2/10, and there is Pacefen in Ferrari in P3, and so we should see quite an exciting start to the Bahrain Grand Prix. We will see it in a minute, but we are still waiting for the end of quali. Here we are. And so here are the official results. Natik in first, just behind him is Edzax and Pacefen in third. Then we've got Brett, Fireshot Ryan, Bunny Rabbit, Vilzul, Lupus, Jair and Houseman closes the top 10. 4 drivers in top 10 decided to go on mediums. The rest will be starting on softs. So here we are for the race. Drivers are of course changing their race strategies. We will see who will have the best one during the race. We've got 6 drivers on softs and 4 drivers on mediums for sure. And so let's see. The top 3 of course on softs. Then we've got Brett and Fireshot Ryan on mediums. Then another 3 of course on softs, and Jair and Houseman on mediums, as we said. Then F1 Champ is on hards, so he's reversing the hard medium strategy. Then we've got Gui on mediums, Timmats on softs. Surprisingly, Mati on mediums, Jinstro on hards, Lopez on softs, same as Timmats, then Super Thomas and Lee Ben on mediums, Wojtinho on hards, and Dex in the dead last is on mediums. So quite a different strategies for drivers, and we've got Gui already waiting for everyone on the start-finish straight. We can see the crowds and the buildings of the Sakir circuit. And so let's follow Natik, our pole sitter here in Bahrain. Let's see if he can change this pole position into race victory and maybe come back to the championship rivalry. And let's also see how our championship leader Pacefen will do. He's 9 points clear ahead of Vilzu, who is in P7. And then behind Vilzu is Jure, but Jure isn't here today. So Jure is gonna lose some points today. Same as Red Bull, who are our leaders in constructor standings. But they've got 38 points of advantage ahead of the second place, who is Ferrari, and in the first place is currently McLaren. But we don't care about the standings at the moment. We care about the start of the race, because we should see the red lights going out, and here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights we've got, and it's lights out and away we go. Everyone are going smoothly from their spots, and it's good start for Natik and Edzax, but it's even better start for Paceman, who goes around the outside on Natik into turn 1, but Edzax has got the inside line on Natik, but Natik stays on the lead, and we've got Fireshot spins in the second corner, and he is gonna be last, and Fireshot retires from the session already. We've got many drivers fighting there. There is a contact between Ferraris, and there is another Red Bull spinning, and it's Vilzu, or nearly spinning, because he manages to maintain the pace. And there is Hausman. Is it Hausman? No, it's Timmats who spun already, so he's also out, and Libanov is also out of the battle at the moment. We've got a change for the third place. It's Bunny Rabbit overtaking Brett. Libanov overtakes Timmats. Currently there is Paceman going side by side with Lupus. Paceman has got the inside light, and he's gonna get on top of Lupus. Yes, he is, and he puts himself up into P5. He lost some position on the start, so he has to retake them, and so that is the race. The Bahrain Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Edzax is in the lead, so he had the better start than Natik, and he is in the lead. Then we've got also, of course, Natik, but he is gonna take the revenge on the Red Bull driver. They are going side by side into turn 1. How is it gonna end up? Edzax is gonna be in front, but maybe we will see some switchback from Natik. Not quite, not now. There is also Champ overtaking Jair, but Jair can fight back on the Ferrari driver. There is also change between the Bunny Rabbit and Brett. Brett retakes the third place, and so here is your top 10. It's Edzax, Natik, Brett, Bunny Rabbit, Paceman, Lupus, Jair, Champ, Jimstro and Hausman in closing the top 10. We've got also battle for P12 between Dex and Mati. They are going into turn 9 and now into turn 10, and Dex nearly touches the back of the Haas, but fortunately no damage made. And so he's still close, but not too close to attack. There is also Hausman on the back of Jimstro, and Lupus is going wide in this penultimate corner on this track, and Jimstro is gonna go ahead of him. But Lupus goes into the back of the racing point, and he has got damage on his front wing, and he lets Hausman go. Because he is now coming into the pits. And there is also Gui close to Lopez. He's closing, and he pulls out. Same as Libanov behind them. And is it gonna be free wide into turn 1? Yes, it is. But Gui gets on top of this battle. But there is still Libanov fighting with Haas. But Libanov takes this 15th place, and he's now in front of the Haas. And so Natik is still chasing down Edzax. He's really close, and he probably wants his first place. But they are now breaking into turn 10. Natik nearly went into the back of Edzax. We will see many overtaking maneuvers or maybe unexpected overtaking maneuvers here. They are going side by side through these long corners. Natik has got the dirty air from this Red Bull, so he has to watch out in these corners. And so we will follow this battle because there are still 5 drivers really fighting for the lead, because they are in the DRS range. And so will we see any lead change here? There is Natik chasing Edzax. He has got the DRS, he pulls out and he goes around the outside into turn 1, but not quite. But Edzax is gonna lose it now because he missed the braking point, and now we've got the lead change. And Lupus is out of the race. He lost it on the curb probably, but now Edzax has to defend in front of Brett, but we've got a VSC, so Brett couldn't quite overtake the Red Bull, and so Natik retook the lead, and he's now back in the first place. And so we are waiting for the VSC to come out of the track. We had also change between Dex and Mati. Renault driver overtook the Haas. Prime Vilzu lost the most probably because he's 20 seconds behind everyone, and he has to chase sorry, coronavirus. And here we got Brett trying to overtake the Edzax already, because VSC has ended, and there is Bunny Rabbit going side by. They are going into the last corner on the track, and Bunny Rabbit couldn't quite do it, but there is also Paceman just behind them, and everyone is gonna have the DRS. They are going 3 wide through the start-finish straight, and now into the first corner they go. Paceman has got the inside line, same as Brett, and Paceman nearly spins on the curb, but he manages to stick to the track. And so we've got still Brett in the first place, and we've got both Williamses fighting for the 4th place. And there is also Dex really close to Super Thomas. They are going through the S's. Here is a really nice battle for the lead actually, or maybe not for the lead, because Natik is going to pull out now. But for the 2nd place, of course, just Colvin Brett is too far to attack Edzax at the moment. Because we've also got a fight between the teammates in Williams, Jair and Bunny Rabbit. Quite a lot of drivers following each other, and they are in less than a second gaps, and so will we see any switches on this straight? I think that no one is close enough to attack. Probably the closest one is Brett, who is gonna make a switchback on Edzax into turn 1. And they are still going side by side into turn 4. Who's gonna get on top? Brett brakes later, but it's gonna be Edzax who has the better exit of this corner, and he's gonna stay in the first place. But these softs aren't gonna last long now, but they are still fighting. There is also Bunny Rabbit who is close to these two. Makes a mistake in turn 9, and so he goes wide, and Super Thomas is out. Super Thomas is out. He also probably spun on the curb, and we've got the safety car. And so that's an, I think, ideal moment for Natik, Edzax and Bunny Rabbit to pit. But we will see if they are gonna make a change in their strategies. And so that is also a good information for Prime Vilzu, who is 16 seconds behind Lopez, with the next driver, and we are gonna look what is gonna Natik do. He's gonna pit, I think, yes, and yes, he comes into the pits, same as Edzax, same as Brett, and same as Bunny Rabbit. So Jair is gonna take the lead because of the Bunny Rabbit, because they are teammates, and they would be stuck, and so the pack looks like at the moment there is Jair, Champ in second place, Jimstro in P3. Let's see maybe how many positions did they gain. Jair gained 8 positions from the start, Champ gained 9, Jimstro gained 12, Houseman gained 6, but look at this, because Dex from the dead last, he's now in P5, 15 places up, Voitinho 13 places up, and Libenov. These 3 drivers were starting from the back of the grid, and they are now in quite high points. Then we've got Gui, who is the last man who gained positions on these first 7 laps, and then we've got our leader, who was leading the race for the before the safety car, and so everyone behind him pitted, or didn't they? Yes. So everyone behind Natik pitted, and so they will be pushing. But so Natik is on hard, so he's gonna try to go to the end on these tires. Behind him is Edzax, who has to pit. There is no chance going on these tires to the end. Behind him we've got Brett and Paceman on hard, so they are also gonna try to go to the end on these tires. Then Bunny Rabbit and Mati on softs, so that's interesting, and Vilzu, Timats and Lopez on mediums. So another time many strategies here, many different strategies, and 3 drivers out of the race. Of course, Super Thomas, Lupus and Fireshot Ryan, who retired on, to be honest, second corner of the Grand Prix. Fortunately, Renault has his teammate Dex in P5, so they are scoring 10 points at the moment. And so we are waiting for the safety car to come to the pits, so we can start racing again. So as we've got a little bit of break, I can invite you for the tomorrow's race, and for the ERO F1 race. We are racing also in Bahrain. Last week's Italian Grand Prix was a truly banger. I got a podium, so the Toro Rosso, there was a huge party in Toro Rosso actually, and so I can invite you, and I can assure you that it's gonna be a good race tomorrow. And also in the same channel, just after this race, the F2 race, is gonna be the Team League race, where I'm also commentating. and so I can only invite you to see this, because these races are worth of your attention. And as I was talking about the races in our leagues, safety car is coming into the pits, so Jair leads the pack in front of Champ and Jimstrow, but no battles in the top 3 because the advantages are too high. We've got a change in Toro Rosso. Libanov is overtaking Voitinho into P6, or is he? They are gonna fight, or maybe no. No, they aren't. Edzax was fighting with just Connie Brett. And we've got also Dex at the back of Houseman. And Edzax close to Natik. They were fighting for the P1 just 3 laps ago, and Edzax tried to send it, tried to dive bomb the Alpha driver, and so Edzax tried another time to dive bomb Natik, but he couldn't quite do it. And we got also Paceman fighting with Bunny Rabbit side by side into this corner. Williams has got the inside line and he's on the faster tire, so he's gonna push. And so we've got a mistake for Natik, and Natik loses the place for the Edzax, and he may also lose the place for the Brett, but not this time. So Edzax, he has to get away from Natik because he has a gap to pit. He has to pit yet, but still Natik has got the slipstream behind Red Bull. And there is also Brett on the inside of the Alpha, and they are still fighting, and Brett gains the position on the Alpha, but Alpha may fight back now into turn 4. We may see around the outside move. Maybe it's gonna be a nice move, but they are still side by side into these S's, but Brett defends brilliantly, and Natik loses another place for the Bunny Rabbit. He lost 3 positions now, and Natik goes with the dive bomb on 2 drivers, but this couldn't go right, and Natik loses the front wing and also gets into the back of both Brett and Bunny Rabbit. Brett is getting overtaken by Vilzu, but now he touches the back of the Red Bull and he is gonna lose much time now. Payson is also out of the track. What's happening there? Matti is also out of the track, and same as Brett, he speeds another time and he also damages his front wing. And so I don't know, Houseman is coming into the pits because we've got a VSC. So many things happening there. Gui has got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so that's not going well for Alpha, because Natik, I'm sure that there is gonna be a penalty for him there, and so they are gonna stack. So from hero to 0 for Natik, actually in 4 laps or something. That's not a good information for the Swiss team. And so we've got another safety car. This time it's virtual. And Jair maintains his lead above Champ and Jimstrow, so no changes here in top 3. Then we've got Dex, who is chasing from the very last place. He's now up into P4, and there we go, we are racing again here in Bahrain. We've got Edzax chasing Voitinho. He's on the quite fresh mediums and Voitinho is on hards. We've got also battle between Natik and Team Mats, but they are quite far from them. We've got Jair waving through the back straight. So we may see another battle for the lead here, because Jair is in the DRS range here. And there he goes. He has got DRS, same as Jimstrow, and Dex is also chasing them. And so not now, no changes here. We've got Brad losing place, or maybe gaining places. He's fighting with Lopez at the back of the grid. They are losing 7 seconds to Natic, so that's a quite much. But we are coming back to the battle for the lead. We got Dex joining this battle, and there also Libanov may join this battle, and we will have a 5 drivers battle for the P1. We got also battle between Natic and Team Mats. Natic makes a brilliant switchback through the first corner on the McLaren driver, and he takes this 14th place. There is also Lopez, who I don't know if he made a mistake or something. He was battling with Brett, and so we've got 4 drivers, 4-car battle for the lead. But I think they are too far from themselves to attack. And are we gonna see any pit stops? Yes, it is. It's Jair who's coming into the pits. Meanwhile, Dex takes the fastest lap of the race. And so there is the Williams. Where is he gonna come out? There is also a fight between Edzax and Wojtinho. They both are gonna pit. And so Edzax, can he make a move now? But there is also Jimstrow fighting with Dex, because Dex overtook the racing point on the start-finish straight. I didn't saw this, I'm sorry, but Renault is chasing, and he's fast. Dex is fast, and he's now 19 places up, but he now makes a mistake. Natic with fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile, Jair came out of the pits in P11, and he's now going to the end on these hard tires, and we will see any reaction from the Dex, or maybe Libanov, because this looks like undercut from Jair. Any close battles here? Jair came out of the pits, is gonna fight with Houseman soon. There is also Edzax still chasing down Wojtinho. Bunny Rabbit gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And also Jimstrow is gonna try to retake his 2nd place from Dex, but I don't think he's gonna do it now. Libanov comes into the pits, and so both Edzax and Wojtinho are gonna gain a place, and Edzax pulls out, and he's gonna go around the outside into turn 1 on the Toro Rosso, or not quite, but now they are going through the turn 3, and now Edzax is gonna have the DRS again. Wojtinho is defending, and he pushes the Edzax on the inside line. They are still side by side through the turn 4. Now into turn 5 they go, still side by side. Edzax gets a better traction around the on the outside line, and he gets this 4th place from the Toro Rosso. And so that was a quite nice battle, the whole first sector side by side. Now onto the DRS straight. Can Wojtinho fight back? I don't think so. There is also Libanov overtaking Gui, or is he? I don't think so, because he made a lunge and it didn't work for him, unfortunately. There is also oh, and I saw that there was something happening there, and I knew this. I didn't saw this in the whole thing, but Gui was going backwards. I don't know if that was if it was Libanov's fault, or it was actually, but we will see after the race. we've got Bunny Rabbit in the pits, and his teammate Jair is chasing down Houseman. He has got DRS now. Through the main straight they go. Houseman doesn't defend, and Jair goes through the McLaren, and he gets up into P7. And there is also Voitinho close to Edzax. It was another episode of their fight, and they are still Voitinho is still close. We'll see if he can attack after the turn 10. No mistakes here, fortunately for Voitinho, and he's quite close, but is he close enough? Not quite. So they will go through the S's of this second sector. There is also Houseman close to Jair, but not that close. Bunny Rabbit is close to Team Mats, but I don't think he's gonna attack here. So we will watch Voitinho versus Edzax another time. They are going through the last corner into the main straight, and Dex is in the pits, and he's gonna feed the hearts. Yes, he is. And so this is now fight for P3. No overtakes here, and so maybe Houseman is gonna try, but not quite. He's way too far. There is also teammates fighting with Bunny Rabbit, but here also no changes. Maybe now they are coming onto the start team straight. Teammates is gonna take the inside line, but Bunny Rabbit is closing. He's closing, and he pulls out onto the outside line, but not quite here. But he's still going for it into the turn 2. He cuts the second corner, but he can't quite pass the McLaren. Now the McLaren has got the DRS, but Bunny Rabbit is in front. But now Teammates has got the inside line. So and he spins. And he damages his front wing, and so he's gonna lose many seconds. And so Bunny Rabbit is now safe in P13. Too much throttle for the McLaren, unfortunately, and he lost now his chance for any points here. Meanwhile, we are on lap 16 out of, or now 17th lap out of 29, and so Voitinho finally comes into the pits, and he's doing an undercut on Edzax, because now Edzax has to react on this move. Also Jimstro is in the pits, and he's gonna feed the softs, and Voitinho is gonna feed the mediums. And so the battle is on, but now in pit stops, Natik is gonna try to retake his positions. He's now overtaking his teammate into P11. There's also a fight between Vilzu and Jimstro. Jimstro was coming out of the pits, and Vilzu was on his normal line, and Vilzu is gonna dive down the inside on the racing point. There was also Libenov involved in this battle, and now Vilzu is gonna be close to Libenov. I don't think if Libenov isn't on Ghost, yes he is, and it's gonna be a loss in positions, and he's now down into P9, and so Jimstro is now up into P8, but he's behind Vilzu. And there is also Libenov, who is gonna gain a position on his teammate. Unfortunately for Libenov, he is disconnected probably. Meanwhile, Houseman is still chasing Jair. Okay, this was just... Okay, so Libenov somehow retook his positions. Champ has still got a gap to pit, and he's still in the lead, but he's gonna pit probably for the softs. Edzax probably still gonna pit. Pacefan, I think he can get to the end of these tires, and we've got Haas, it's Lopez in the second and third sector, making the mistake probably on the curb on the inside, and so he lost another couple of seconds here, but he's now really far. He has to pray for a miracle here to gain any points, and we've got a battle here. It's the battle for P4 between Jair, Hausman and Dex. They're coming into the turn 10. I have to drink. Okay. And there is also battle for P7 because both Vilzu and Jimstro are chasing down Libanov again. They have to overtake him again. But let's look at this battle. They are really close, and we should see some changes here on the main straight. Dex is close, and both Dex and Hausman are gonna have DRS behind Jair, but aren't they too far from them? Is Hausman gonna make a lunge? No. Fortunately, no. Maybe let's switch to this battle because Jilstro is fighting with Vilzu. He goes down the inside on the Red Bull driver into turn 1, but can Vilzu fight back? No, he can't. And so Racing Point is ahead, and he's now chasing Libanov. And changes here? No. Is there a battle bit? No, they are just ghosting through each other, Champ and Team Mats. And so Jimstro is close to Libanov. I think he may attack on the main straight, or maybe even now, but I don't think so, he's too far. Now braking into the S's. Through the S, and Libanov is going quite slow through these corners. Now onto the back straight they go. Jimstro has got the DRS. Champ goes finally into the pits, and he goes into mediums. So I don't think it's a good decision. He could have gone onto softs, to be honest. Jimstro meanwhile tried down the inside on Libanov, but that wasn't the best idea. And Libanov came out in P6, so he's gonna join the battle for P3. And Jimstro attacks the Libanov around the outside into turn 1. They are strangely positioning themselves, and they are ghosting now, so Libanov has got some problems with his internet probably. And now Libanov tries down the inside into turn 4 on the Racing Point, but this didn't work well for him. And there is also Goi getting overtaken by Bunny Rabbit. And so can Vilzu fight with Libanov? Can he overtake the Slovak? They're going now on to this DRS straight. Let's check this battle for the P3, because this is 4-car battle now. Hausman is close to Dex, but is he close enough? And Edzax, our current leader, is coming into the pits, and he's gonna feed the softs, and he's gonna push like hell to retake his lead. Paceman probably has the straight line to victory now, because he has 7 seconds of advantage, and if he won't do anything stupid, he has the best chance to win this race, because everyone behind him are fighting. Edzax came out just behind his teammate Vilzu, and meanwhile we've got Champ trying to overtake the Houseman, but he can't quite do it into the S's. Okay, we are back now. Champ is still trying to overtake Houseman. They are going now onto the DRS straight. There is also Dex close to Jair. They are fighting. The whole four is fighting, and there is also the whole fight behind them. Houseman let Champ go into this corner. He gave up, and Libanov tried around the outside to overtake Jinstro. End of the race. There are still 8 laps to go, and there is Dex on the start finish straight. He has got DRS and he may fight with Jair. He's close enough to attack. He pulls out, around the outside he goes into turn 1, but not quite. He makes a switchback, or he wanted to make a switchback, but he makes a very poor exit out of this turn, and he is gonna have to defend against Champ. But Champ was too far to attack. But Dex makes another mistake here, and he makes we've got a change between teammates. Edzax overtakes Vilzu, and there was also a switch between Mati and Brett. And so Champ is closing in on Dex. He has got fresher tires, and he has also an advantage in because he has Champ has got mediums and Dex has got hards. Edzax gets a 3-second time penalty, and Vilzu may attack Libanov because he has got the inside line into this turn, and he goes down the inside on the Toro Rosso driver, and he gets this 7th place. There is also Edzax watching it behind them. And so the battle is still on between Jair, Dex and Champ. Dex is faster than Jair because he made a mistake, and he's still just behind Jair, and he may do it again. And now maybe around the outside, but no, not now. They are really close to themselves. Maybe now Champ is watching them. And Libanov loses 2 positions on this straight, and 3 positions actually, because his teammate also overtook him. And Vilzu is close to overtaking Edzax, but I don't think that we will see any switches here because Edzax is on faster tires. And so Jair is still defending against both Dex and Champ. They are trying everything to get past Williams, but they can't quite do it. There is still 6 full laps to go, and Pacevan is losing his advantage. It's only under 6 seconds now. I don't think that they are gonna catch him, but they are still closing, so we may see an interesting chase. And we got still the 4-car battle for the 2nd place, and switches here. Champ is really close to Dex. Is he gonna pull out? Yes, he pulls out, and he goes down inside on the Renault. Into turn 1 he goes, and he gets this 3rd position. So we've got 2 Ferraris currently on the podium. And can Dex fight back? Not quite. He's too far. Nati comes into the pits. He's gonna fight for the fastest lap probably. But there is still fight between Dex and Champ. Dex wants this podium. Same as Houseman actually. We'll see, maybe penalties will decide. Jair is still closing in on Pacevan. It's only 5 seconds now. So we will see. It may be an interesting battle on the last laps of the race. But let's remember that Jair still has got Champ on his back. Gui gets overtaken by Brett. Let's see who has the fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race currently belongs to Edzax, 1:30.8, but Natik doesn't need much to actually beat the Red Bull. But now let's come back to the fight for P2, because there is Champ closing in on Jair, but not now. Still he has to wait. And look what is going on with this gap. I thought Champ is gonna spin on the second corner, meanwhile Edzax overtakes Jimstro into P6. And Jimstro gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting probably. And so look what is going on with this gap from Jair to Pacefan. It's only 4 seconds now. Let's look on this battle. Champ needs a better exit than the Williams here, but he doesn't get it. And now braking into this corner. The gap is getting smaller and smaller, and they are still chasing Pacefan. It's 4 laps to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix in F2. And now Champ, is he gonna make a lunge now? Jair actually lets him through, because he now is gonna have a DRS on this straight and he may fight back now. Let's see, Champ nearly went into the pit lane, and now Jair with the DRS power overtakes the Ferrari, and Dex may also gain a position here. Edzax with the new fastest lap of the race, but not quite. And can now Champ fight back on Jair? We've got Wojtinho who is overtaking Vilzu, and there we got Champ overtakes the Jair, but he goes deep on the brakes and he loses the position again, so he's still in P3. And Natik with a fastest lap of the race, 1:29.6, and now Dex makes a lunge into turn 8, I guess, and he's now up into P3. So another change here. They are going really slow through this corner, really careful not to hit anyone. And there is Champ and Dex going side by side into this corner. Champ has got the inside line and he forces his way through the Renault, but Renault may fight back still. There's also Houseman watching them. Houseman may finally have a really strong race here, and Pacefan is pulling out of Jair. He's now 4.5 seconds ahead. And so Dex is closing in on Champ. Dex is close. He has got DRS. Neither Champ. Oh, there was a contact there. Fortunately, no contact made, and Dex goes down the inside into turn 1, but he can't quite pass the Champ, the Ferrari, and so he's gonna wait one more lap. There is also another chapter of this battle between Wojtinho and Vilzu. Torosso are at the back of the points. They have got 3 points at the moment, and so Jair pulled out of Champ, and he's now over a second ahead of him. So it's now only battle for P3 for the last spot on the podium. Houseman is still watching this battle. Let's see if he can actually make something here, or maybe he's waiting because the two ahead of him has penalties, but I don't know. I'm not gonna check this now. Wojtinho is still close to Vilzu, but he can't quite pass him. He has got faster tires, but he doesn't have the real pace to actually get past him. I don't know why did we have the yellow flag in sector 1, but let's be back to the fight for P3. And Jair is still, he's much faster than Pacefan. Pacefan is struggling on his tires, and he's losing time to the Williams, and there is still 2 laps to go, and we still may see some interesting moves going on here. Okay, nothing happening here. Also, Wojtinho can't quite pass Vilzu. So let's follow this battle. There is also switch in last places between Team Mats and Lopez. They are still fighting. But now, one of the last chances for Dex to pass Champ. He cuts a little bit this corner and he makes a mistake on the exit, and he's now under pressure by Houseman, but that pressure is not that much actually. And look at this, Jair is 2 seconds behind Pacefan. If Pacefan has got one single penalty, he's gonna end up behind Williams. We are now going out onto the last lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix here in ERO. Will we see any switches? Under 2 seconds now. Another Williams Bunny Rabbit spun on the curb, and he's now back into P12. I thought there was another spin, but fortunately no. Any switches here? No. Wojtinho finally makes a move on Vilzu, but Vilzu fights back and pushes Wojtinho away of his road, and Wojtinho is now behind Vilzu again. And so look at this, Jair 1.5 seconds behind Pacefan. They've got a half a lap to go. Many switches at the back of the grid, but I'm gonna show you the top 5. Dex has got one more DRS zone to pass F1 Champ, but I don't think he's close enough to do it exactly. And Jair, Bunny Rabbit spun again, unfortunately for him. But the other side of Williams is gonna have a party, probably P2 for him, unless Pacefan has got a penalty. But Jair, 1 lap more and we would have seen Williams winning the Grand Prix. But it's Pacefan on top today. Jair in P2, Champ P3, Dex P4, Houseman P5, Edzax is gonna come home on P6. Then Jimstrow in P7, Vilzu with Wojtinho in P8. Jimstrow loses some places and he is back into P9. Libenov just misses out on overtaking the racing point and he finishes in P10, the last man to score the points. Let's see who has got the fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race goes to Natik, 1:29.6. So 1 point for our pole sitter. Unfortunately, this race wasn't good for the Alpha. 1 point only for them. It wasn't also good for any of Haas. P14 and P17 for them. So we are still waiting for Team Mats, Bunny Rabbit and Lopez, who are gonna come home in the last 3 places. Bunny Rabbit spun on the last corner, but there are no many points to get, and he's going to finish in dead last. And so that was the Bahrain Grand Prix in ERO Season 3. It was race 10 actually. We are more than halfway through the season, and we are gonna be heading into the closing stages of this season. And Pacefan actually makes his lead bigger because no one of his championship contenders finished higher in the points, because neither Jair and Champ fight with Champ and Jair aren't fighting with him for the championship here. And so these are the official results. As I said, one more lap and we could have seen Williams winning the Grand Prix here. Not that exciting race as the last weeks, but it was still a good one. And so here are your drivers: Paceman, Jair, Champ, it's your podium, and then Dex, Hausman, Edzax, Vilzu, Wojtinho, Jimstrow, Libanov, Brett, Nati, Gui, Mati, Tim Mats, Lopez, and Wine Rabbit was the last to finish, and Super Thomas Lupus and Fireshot Ryan retired from this race. And so that was another round of this season in ERO in F2. As I said, in a minute we will have another race on this channel. It's gonna be an own team league. We will be racing on Hockenheim, and there will be also a race tomorrow in ERO F1. So stay tuned and see you soon. See you in a few minutes actually. My name is Gniewko and goodbye.